Right, ready to roll? I don't know.
We are back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the.
This isn't the meat grinder or high and tight or just for kicks or
Welcome to the
hoops with Morelli.
Welcome to the bunker.
This is the quarantine cast.
Yeah,
No,
we've been really slow on the uptake on doing podcasts. I mean, obviously, where we last left off, we did one with Morelli, we did one with you guys, we did a bunch, and then we just ended and we just stopped. And this whole coronavirus outbreak thing happened. It became kind of it became kind of self-survival mode, or everybody get into their respective bunkers and start figuring out what they're going to do with the rest of their lives for the next who knows how many months or weeks. I know a lot of people don't want to hear months, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's we don't know. That's kind of the hardest part.
So let's do a little, I don't know, let's take a recap where we've been. I mean, where we are, where we've been. Start off where we've been. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
The CIAC one day. It started to we were starting to get into the first rounds of the state boys tournament. We actually had some games played. We didn't get to the second batch of teams. And then the next thing you know, it was like this virus started hitting the country, and we were all called to a press conference on Tuesday morning.
Yep.
And everybody started like, what are you hearing? What are you hearing? Like the last positive thing I saw was that Joe D'Ambrosio and WTIC, actually just WTIC, Joe D'Ambrosio put it out that they were going to broadcast the boys basketball championships.
Yeah, that was a freezing cold take, unfortunately.
No, I mean that was the last news we heard.
Yep.
And then literally that day, and I even sent Joe a message saying, "Hey, let me know where we can stream this so we can do it for Mohegan."
We'll link. Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it was the CIAC's called the press conference, and we all went in there, and the news filtering. It was very, very QT, but the news, the thought process was we were not going to have a spring tournament the rest of the way. That was it. It was going to shut it all down, and it sounded like a really crazy idea at the time. And granted, we're like, wow, do you think they could actually do this?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I spoke to a couple of people Monday night after the first round of, I think it was first night of D2 hockey was Monday night. And I talked to a couple of people, like no one like in decision making, but they were just like, do you think they can postpone? What do you think is going to happen? And I was like, the dates are set. Mohegan's booked. Yale is booked. I don't believe postponement was even an option.
Right.
They were either going to power through or it was going to be canceled. I don't think postponement was even on the table.
Right.
When they called the press conference Tuesday morning, I was convinced. I was like, they're going to cancel. I mean, that was what I thought.
I heard from an athletic director that I know pretty well, and he said, there's no way we're getting to Mohegan. This is on Monday night, the night before they canceled. There you go. He said there were no, or maybe it was Sunday night. He says there's no way this is going to get postponed. I mean, we're not going to get there. The only way, he said, just based on his conversations we saw, I mean, he's involved in administration, and he said the only way that they could possibly do it is if they powered through it and just forget Mohegan. He said there's no way Mohegan. Power through it and play somewhere in the middle, in some school. But we didn't even get to that point.
No. Well, I think it's crazy because then the fallout was the protest on Wednesday.
Right. So there was a lot of like, well, I mean, they made this very difficult decision, which looks great now. And
I mean, look, Glenn Lungarini is, if you know Glenn, nice guy, best interest at heart. He was a villain. I mean, the Twitter accounts that were created, the Instagram accounts that were created, like
those resignations,
like calling him a clown, all the attacks on Twitter. I mean, you can just go through my mentions. I had to shut off Twitter on Wednesday night, which I never do. And it was so bad. And now you look at it and like, I was like thinking about it the other day. I was like, we're going to look back in a couple of years and we're going to be like, Glenn, we're going to look back and be like, wow, Glenn was a genius. Now, it wasn't Glenn's just, full decision. Like, he had conversations with other people, but he was the one who took the brunt of the blame after it came out. It wasn't the CIAC, it was Glenn. Right. So if we're going to vilify and crucify this man in a couple of years, when we look back and look how correct of a decision it was, we're going to applaud him. And we're already applauding him. But when we look back, I think history is going to do a lot of justice for Glenn.
There are still people out there who think the CIAC did it wrong. There's still people out there. And I don't think, and this is for everybody. I don't think everybody really grasps what was going on. And even I didn't.
No.
So this is how my whole Sunday started. The Sunday before, my brother came over. My brother, who's, he's in conservation and things. He's in that type of, he was a geologist, major, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he's into like that kind of stuff. And that's what his kind of job is. He going to go walk the Appalachian Trail and all that stuff. Anyway, so he came over with two masks. And I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? I don't see my brother much, even though he lives not too far away. And he's like, yeah, I brought these over because this is just hitting here and it's best to be prepared. And I'm like, really? And he sat down. He said, yeah, I've been tracking this since January. And he gave me the whole thing about how this virus has gotten out and what it means and how it's not the flu, how it incubates for 2 weeks. So my brother kind of gave me the whole very, very Cliff Notes version about what it is. And it wasn't, and that's when I started to take it seriously because I trust my brother. He's a smart kid. He's 38 years old. But I trusted him, and I kind of started to do I did some reading from like the New York Times and the Washington Post and a lot of other media outlets that had reporters on the ground over in China. And basically what the takeaway was this thing is already here. If you've already seen spots of it, it's already here, and we are way behind already. And it was going to get worse, and there was no stopping it. That was what confronted the CIAC and people that they knew. And in talking with the governor's office and people, very important people who've tracked this stuff, they realized very quickly. And it was really weird because they didn't close the schools immediately. But they knew exactly what was the case with. If it's here, it's already exploded. And we just don't know it yet because the incubation period is 2 weeks. And we don't know, we didn't know who had it and who was going to spread it. And the only real answer was to shut everything down. That is the answer. That's what they didn't do in China. They didn't do it in Italy. They didn't do it at places all around the world. And now it just becomes about containment. And the only way you can contain the virus is by completely detaching yourself from society, everybody, which is it's nothing we've ever encountered in these generations ever. In like 100 years, we haven't encountered anything like this. Nobody who was really alive at the time remembers the outbreak in 1919 or 1918.
We weren't alive.
Yeah, nobody was alive. Nobody was, and we've never encountered anything remotely like this. And that was the big thing. And it was a matter of getting down to the hard fact of the matter that this is here. We have no idea how far it spread, which is why their decision to not even allow playing in front of an empty gymnasium, that the what's it called? The logistics of trying to organize that, it sounds great, but there were places like, where are you going to play these games? There was
that was it.
Districts, Pete, that didn't want anything to do with this. Norwalk was already shutting down.
Danbury was shut, and Wallingford was, I believe Wallingford announced that they weren't going to host any games. Norwalk said that their teams, even if they advanced, were going to forfeit. And they had a hockey team playing in the quarterfinals with a chance to go to Yale.
Yeah.
And so schools were already making the decision. I saw a tweet out there. I believe it was from Dave Rudin, who was like, I spoke to a couple athletic directors, and they were happy that the CIAC took this decision away from them because, they wanted to make it, but they didn't want to be the bad guy.
Right.
And I feel like the CIAC laid down and took it for every single athletic director. And here's the thing.
Glenn and the CIAC fell on their sword on this.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They took the brunt of the criticism. They took the decision away from a bunch of schools were already like, you know what, we need to shut down immediately. But they were still slow on the uptake there. the first thing they could do is pressure CIAC to make the decision easy for them and easier for everybody else. CIAC just close it down, and that was
And they
like,
did, and that was the
unfathomable.
right
The day
decision.
before, CIAC said we're going to try and do this as best as we can.
Yeah.
They put out a press release, but once they talked to the governor's office and some people, I don't know, it must have been some people there, and they talked to a few school districts, and they realized it was just untenable.
Yeah.
And I came to that conclusion very quickly. And Jeff Jacobs did too. And we got killed for it. We got killed for agreeing for this with the CIC. And I don't blame anybody for killing us, because I don't think everyone understood. And I don't still don't think they understood.
I think, and like the last couple of years, the last 15 years, we've had some, there have been other, viruses like this around the world, and it has gotten here, but not in this extent, right? SARS and everything. I know. But what I'm saying is, like, we've had similar things like this around the world, not as big, obviously, but it has never come to that here in this country. So I think that people, because even I was thinking at the beginning, I'm like, oh, this will never get here. Like, this sucks around the world. But like, they'll get through it because we always get through it. And I was like, it'll never get here.
Right.
Now it's here.
And it was here.
And I think that's so different than you know what I mean? Like, remember when SARS was big? I don't even know what year that was. Yeah. But like, people are wearing the masks and everyone's like, oh, this is crazy. And like, it's never going to get here. And I'm sure it did in some, but it was whatever. But
I was never scared of any of those.
Yeah, neither was I. So at the beginning of this, I was never really frightened, like, oh, it'll, whatever.
I thought the same thing about this one earlier.
It's the most, ridiculous thing to even think about, saying whatever to this.
Right.
So, it is what it is. Now we got to wait for spring. Fingers crossed, toes crossed. It's got to be a wait and see. And it sucks, sports wise. Obviously, this is a lot bigger than that, but for what we do in our job, that's kind of what we're looking at. And
we'll see. The governor of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, said yesterday that April 20th was the earliest the schools could possibly.
But he even said today,
and then he said today, prepare for it being till fall.
Yeah. Well, we're news guys now.
Yeah. Our jobs have completely changed in the last 3 weeks.
We're not the only ones. I mean, there are other sports reporters in the state as well who have been.
No, and a lot of guys are doing a lot of great job. I see a lot of reporters doing a lot of, reactionary pieces, which has been good. I've seen a lot of, Jeff Jacobs did a really nice column about the severity of this. And I think that's the thing that you really have to understand is the severity of it. Number one, the fatality rate is, I've seen as much as 3. I don't know if that's the case, but it's hovering somewhere around like 1.7, around there, almost 2. We haven't even seen the full impact here, but just like China, just like Italy, and a lot of hot spots, the virus cases are going up, which people are like, well, that's because there's more testing. Absolutely. But the thing you got to pay attention to is the death rate. And if the death rate continues to double every 3 days, you're in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that here right now. Not to, I'm not an expert on this, but this is just what I've been reading. I'm taking this very serious. I've not left my house in days.
I've only gone to the supermarket.
Yeah. I haven't left,
which has been
fine. Yeah.
Beneficial. I haven't ordered out. I haven't gone to fast food.
I ordered out, actually. I did order out. I ordered out. Actually, I ordered from a Chinese restaurant. How about that?
Oh, nice.
There you go.
I make breakfast every morning. Now I'm up at like 6:30 every day.
Yeah.
But I make breakfast every morning. Bacon and eggs, some hash browns. Yeah. I got lunch every day.
I had eggs Benedict today. How about that?
That's way too fancy. I don't know how to make eggs Benedict. I can make sunny side up.
Yeah.
I can make fried eggs and I can scramble them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. Bacon, I usually burn it anyway. Haven't set the smoke alarm off yet. But
I've been doing this is funny. So obviously I have the podcast equipment here. I brought it. We went I think it was a Sunday, right? Or Saturday. It was a Saturday before we all really started to quarantine.
Yeah.
Or was it Friday? No, it was Friday.
I think it was Friday. I think it was.
But I have all the
either
New Hidden
way.
Registers podcast equipment here, and they're probably like, "What the hell you guys do?" But we
We're
need
the
to
only
have.
ones who use it
The
anyway.
idea was to have you come over and do it, but now we don't even want to do that anymore.
I'm pretty comfortable in my room. I got my TV. I got my desk here where I work. I watch Netflix. I bought a video game for the first time in like 10 years.
How about this? I broke my TV.
That's the worst.
I have a big TV over there. It's mounted on the wall, and when we were laying it down, I accidentally pressed my thumb into the side, and I cracked it.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That was bad. And then I broke my French press coffee maker. I just love French press. I broke that a few days ago. I know I'm living high on the hog here, but the situation is you have to stay indoors. And I think it was I think it was the New York Times did they've worked, and it's kind of creepy because they work with a telecom system or whatever, I forget what it's called, and they basically tracked cell phone, and which basically tracked people's movements in China, in Italy, all across the world, people's movements, because we all use cell phones now, we all use iPhones, and they're all being tracked, and millions of people get tracked on this, and that's the reality of our situation. That's something just to keep in the back of your head, that no one's privacy. They'll know where you are. You ping your cell phone, it tells somebody somewhere where you are. And but the good news on this one, there was a visualization that the New York Times did that showed the movement of millions of people, and they showed basically how it had spread, and how the response was like a week or it was days behind where the virus was already onto the next thing.
Yeah.
They shut Wuhan down, where the virus originated. They shut Wuhan down and restricted all traffic in and out of there. But it had already spread to all the other major cities in China. By the time they shut China down, it was already in Seattle, in Bangkok, in Italy, in Europe, and in Iran, and all that stuff. So so now we can't stop it. It's here. It is here, and it spreads very rapid. It spreads very easily through the mouth, through droplets, through personal contact mostly. It spreads, and now the only way to stop it is to stay as far away as possible. I'm one of those guys. I feel like I have a really good handle on what this thing is about. It's got a high you're already seeing people on Twitter. You're already seeing like well-known people dying from this. Yeah. There was a playwright, he's dead. There's a journalist from like Law Blog or something. He's in intensive care. You have Governor Cuomo talking about respirators. They don't have enough. I mean, it is exploded here, and the only thing we can do is distance ourselves, is stay.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of schools, athletic departments are standing up and saying like, guys, stay home, and that's a good thing. I think I know everyone wants to work out and prepare, but safety is first, and I think a lot of people are and become understanding that. And I think in Jeff's column that went up, I think Monday night, you can read it on Game Time Now, he really hammers that home. He also offers a dinner date with us. So we're gonna have to get him on here at some point. But basically, I think with this podcast that we're gonna try and do this. I don't know what time frames we want to do, weekly or a couple of days a week. We want to just just talk. We don't want to we want it to be like a getaway. Like we were trying to figure out how to do this live. We're still trying to figure that out. We're going to add a video component, which if you can see, we figured it out. If you can't see it, then we didn't figure it out. But I think what we want to do is we just want to shoot the breeze, talk about what we're doing, what everyone's doing. Well, yeah, there is nothing else to do. But if this could be just a getaway for like 45 minutes or a half an hour or an hour, once a week, twice a week, whatever it is, we're open. Tell us what you guys want to hear us talk about. We can do questions. We could, people can ask us questions, or whatever. We'll bring coaches on, players. We'll get guys on our staff on. Like I mentioned, we should definitely have Jake on. But we want to just figure out what everyone's doing. What TV shows are you watching? What are you doing to kill the time when you're just sitting inside? Like I've been cooking, and I suck at cooking. I made pizza the other night. Wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Much more credit to Molly for her pizza skills. Mine are not good. But like, what are you doing? Like, I've been watching so many movies. Like, I mean, I always watch movies because we work from home constantly anyway.
Right.
But I've been watching a lot of movies. I've been watching. Did you watch Tiger King yet?
No, I have not. I heard you
Gotta watch Tiger King.
were raving about it on Twitter the other day.
It's freaking wild. Just an absolutely absurd story. I knocked it out in one sitting, one like afternoon to night.
How many episodes?
Seven episodes. I think they're about
for each.
I think like 45 minutes an hour each, maybe a little bit less. Just absolutely wild. So if anyone hasn't watched Tiger King, we'll get Sean to watch it. We could talk about it when he watches it. I just watched Zodiac for the first time. The movie from 2007. Star-studded cast. I listened to a movie podcast, Lights Camera Movie or whatever it's called, Lights Camera Podcast. And they like have been reviewing all old movies. So if it's good, I'll watch it just to like listen to the podcast. Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo. I mean, unbelievable movie. And then I dove through a wormhole online.
It's a good journalist movie.
It is. It is a very good journalist movie, which I kind of knew, but I didn't, but awesome movie. I've been puzzling.
What do you think? David Lynch is, first of all, a great director. I love David Lynch.
Oh.
Evan, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, where did you think that he had it right?
I have no idea. I dove down a wormhole, man. I have no idea who the Zodiac Killer is. I am so out there. But I know names. I've been reading about each of them. It's been bizarre. But because there's just so much time. Like, it's 5:00 right now. We're recording on Tuesday. I've been up since like 6, but I'm like, I mean, I have some grad school homework to do too, but like, I'm like sitting here, I'm like, all right, my shift's over. Like, I've been watching Netflix anyway. So like, is there something I can watch? Is there, I'm on my third puzzle. We did a Star Wars one, a Pokemon one. Now we got a Marvel, MCU one, which was really hard. Very dark colors. So it's not easy. The Pokemon one was awesome. And if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen the photo, but it was all colors.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pokemon, I found my old Game Boy.
Look at this.
And I've been playing Pokemon Blue. One. Yeah, Game Boy Color, first Game Boy Color.
Wow.
And I've been playing Pokemon Blue. I restarted it. I have 5 badges already. So it's been
wild.
Yeah, but there's nothing to nothing to do.
Here's the other thing. We gotta make mention of. There's a lot of apprehension out there because, especially if you have parents or if you know siblings or in the restaurant industry, it has been completely shut down. I mean, they're still doing takeout. So if you want to help, try and do takeout with your favorite restaurants. I saw Eli's on Whitney. I saw they had to close down some of their operations. I know the ones up in Hamden. The ones over in the center of town, they're still doing takeout there. If you have the wherewithal, if you can, go take out from some restaurants, help them out, help their servers out. I have friends of mine who work the Shoreline in the restaurant industry, and he was concerned. He was extremely concerned. He said this was just a day before it happened. He said the unemployment's going to have its offices filled because people are going to be coming left and right saying they need money, and it's really a scary time to be in certain industries here. And you're seeing furloughs, layoffs. It's not. This is in my opinion, this is going to fundamentally change the fabric of our society here. No question.
Absolutely.
Don't want to be alarmist or anything, but you have to kind of face facts, and that brings me back to this idea that the governor. So the governor floated the idea the April 20th was the earliest schools could open. And then he said today that be prepared for the possibility that they're not going to open at all. And they're going to, next thing you know, we'll be here till fall. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. And I thought the CIAC did a good job by saying that they should, that they would comply, they would do everything in their power to have spring. But obviously, it has to do with what school means. If our school's going to open, if schools don't open, there's going to be no spring.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think if we could play hypothetical, I was talking to I was talking to a coworker of ours. I don't want to mention him just in case, whatever. But we were talking about different scenarios where if the season did start, like what could happen.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas that he floated was, and I thought it was really good. It was Dave Stewart, whatever. And he floated the idea of like, if we don't do state championships because you don't want travel and all that stuff, what if you or crazy travel? What if you did? Because he brought up the idea of what if we just did conferences, right? So you have the SEC or the FCIAC or the SWC, CCC, NVL. You play 10 games, as like a warm up, or like 7 games, whatever the time frame is, and then you just have a conference tournament.
That's
right, because then everyone gets in, depending on the sport, and then you just play like a 3-4 game conference tournament, and then that's it. And then you don't have a state tournament where teams are traveling from one part of the state to the other part of the state. It's something, because I saw people online being like, what if we just did like a 5-7 game regular season, and then everyone gets into the state tournament, which isn't a bad idea either, except for all the travel. Except you might have a 1 seed and a 32 seed that are from 2 different parts of the state.
Here's my thing
where you can keep it all together. If there's even a possibility of a spring season. Again,
I don't mean to be gloom and doom here, but the virus needs to be contained, completely contained. You need to people talk about lowering the curve. That means allowing the hospital system to deal with those infected and keeping people who could be infected away from people who are infected, and isolate the people who are infected so that it doesn't spread any further. And you need to do that for at least a few weeks. At least you need to shut. I mean, that's my. I believe in people who are saying you have to shut the entire, like just like they did in the United Kingdom. You have to shut everything down. Nobody goes anywhere. I mean, only essential. Nobody goes anywhere. Get testing. Get all that stuff. So there's so many things, and I don't need to get into all that, but there's so many things that need to happen before we feel safe enough to actually go out and do things. That is why, and I'm looking down the rise. I'm looking where we are. We're just getting started. That's why I agree with the governor. I don't think you can open schools until you're absolutely certain.
Absolutely not. That's why it's a hypothetical.
If you're going to be opening schools, and I mean, maybe you go over the summer. I don't know. I mean,
they can't.
So
I mean,
school
can. Well, they also are including the homeschooling, the online teaching as school days. So
here's
there's no going into the summer.
Yeah, here's the thing about this whole thing. Sports are secondary right now.
Yeah, but this is a.
I understand, but I mean, but what I'm saying is, though, we have to keep that in mind. That's why sports are got to be secondary right now. We're talking about people's lives.
Yeah, I know.
And if there are people out there who are just clinging to the idea that we could possibly have a spring season, I think that's a luxury at this point.
Yes, of course, but this is supposed to be a getaway from that.
Yeah, I know, but I don't also want to sugarcoat anything. That's just
no, we don't have to, but
I just don't want to
have fun.
Where we can still have
gloom and doom the entire time.
I'm just trying to face facts.
Of course.
Here's what we're up against.
These people, everyone's either hearing or seeing this on the news or reading it on our website every day. Where
I'm trying to put it into context of the spring season happening, and I'm just saying, no, don't hold your breath.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
And don't get mad if they don't do it.
I don't think anybody will. I think everyone's gonna say it sucks for the seniors. It does. It sucks for the freshmen. It sucks for the sophomores. It sucks for everybody. Let's just
It sucks for everybody.
Flat out say it.
If you really look at it, that's very small potatoes compared to what we're dealing with.
Yes, but
must
be a sports show.
Yeah. Anyway, not really. I mean, it's really not. But so anyway, I've heard ideas that maybe Legion could extend if we do lose a spring season. Maybe Legion and AAU tournament could extend into.
If schools aren't going to open, if schools aren't opening till the fall, I don't see.
Right. Well, I mean, again, you go into summer.
Happening.
You go into summer, and what if we're like all clear by let's just throw a number out there. Let's say July 1st. Maybe it's all clear June 1st. Let's just say that. Maybe, I mean, Legion starts around then anyway. I mean, I've heard they could probably move it up into, but it depends. It depends on when we can all actually go outside and be around each other again. And that we'll see.
Yeah. Well, apparently the outside's better than the inside with groups of people.
Yeah. It is. Which was another reason why you could not hold it inside a gym.
Yeah.
All it takes is one. All it takes is one person.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, it might be June or it might be April, and we'll be preparing for football.
Yeah.
I mean, it should
I
be
almost
the
started
most.
thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, start putting together our 25 players.
I don't know where we're gonna be as a society come fall. I don't really know. I really don't. But I mean, as far as like, let's say they open the schools somehow on April 20th. I mean, I think the earliest you can get out there, legitimately get out there, would be like May 1st or something, or 30th. And then you just do what you can. I mean, at this point, I'll take anything. I'll take anything.
Yeah.
If that happens, I would take anything. I would take. Why don't we just, why don't we regionalize? Let's have someone set it up, regionalize. You play like pool play. You turn it into like a World Cup of baseball. You have pool play. You play like, staple, you small groups of schools, you play them, and whoever wins the pool goes to the state tournament. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
The teams that don't, they can just play. It's a lot of logistics involved too.
Oh my God. Well, that's why we're not involved in the decision making.
I don't know how they would do it. That's a good.
No, it'd be something.
We got a lot to. There's just a lot of uncertainty and a lot of frightening, things out there, and we're just going to try and power through it. I mean, the best you can do is that's the thing about the social distancing thing. Everyone should be doing it, but that doesn't mean we all can't talk to each other. This is great. I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's
talking about what we're all going through. I mean, I think that's most important.
Twitter, for all its awfulness, in the recent weeks, has actually been fun. Like you can, like I tweeted out there, I was like, I'm tired of rewatching the same shows. What's out there? And I had 33 different people respond in like under 30 minutes. And like, there were a lot of people say, oh, you should watch The Office. It's 2020. Of course I watch The Office. Like, The Office has been out. The Office has been over. The Office has been over for 8 years. Of course I watch The Office. But I got some really cool, shows. I got a whole list that I got to watch. But it's like really nice. Like you're able to like interact with everybody throughout the entire day. Cause like, and there's not this feeling of awful trashness that Twitter cesspool that Twitter usually is.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I got crushed. I mean, I had to start muting people.
Oh yeah. Well, we got our all state teams are going up.
That's good.
So we posted our 2 tracks. And we got wrestling, girls hockey, boys basketball, girls basketball, ice hockey. I'm forgetting some, but those should still be going up. I know we're gonna try and do other kind of stuff as well, so we're not done. Clearly,
no, we got a lot of that stuff. What else? What else we do? Here's the thing we'd like to do. We would like to hear from players out there how they're coping through this.
Yeah.
If you guys want, we were floating this idea this morning. How about everybody who's out there? Why don't you send us a 5-minute video about what your daily life is like? I think this is where we're going to do this.
I think 5 minutes is a little bit long, but these kids are on Snapchat.
That's fine.
Where it's like 6 seconds long.
Right, but you want a little bit more than that. How about any under 5 minutes? You want to go ideally 3 minutes. Do a quick 3-minute thing. Just how's everyone doing? How do you get through your day? How are you preparing for the possibility of having a spring season? How did you, if you're a winter athlete, how did you cope with, and how did your teammates cope with? We saw a lot of great stuff. We saw a lot of good stuff from Fitch, softball, basically virtually throwing the ball around. No,
it was Waterford.
Oh, well, no, Fitch did it first.
Oh, really? Waterford
did their own version. Good job.
I liked it.
Good job by the ECC getting out there, doing some stuff. We saw that. We saw a bunch of other things. I like it. I mean, you know what? If you can't be with your teammates, you might as well virtually be with your teammates.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones you're with every day. You go through the highs and lows, and this is a low that you got to lift everybody up around. And you might not have a season, but what are you doing to prepare? What are you doing? How did you deal with the end of your high school career when winter season ended for those teams that were still playing? How did you cope with this? Or what do you do on a daily basis? How do you interact with your teammates? How do you go out? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what if they move some of the spring sports into the fall?
God. like golf?
Yeah, like golf.
There'd be a lot of empty football benches, I'll tell you that.
I know. Well, that's what I was like. I was like, oh, maybe they could do baseball in the fall, softball in the fall. And I'm like, how many of these kids play football or soccer, cross country to stay in shape? I mean, that would be
That'd
wild.
be wild. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do that.
No, they definitely wouldn't.
I mean, first of all, the seniors that are on this year's teams are already graduated.
Yeah.
Graduated by then. How
Could you
about that?
imagine though? They do fall baseball and then spring, so you have 2 senior years. Like if you're a junior this year.
Yeah. Imagine they did that, extended your eligibility.
I mean, they've been talking about that college, and I get it for college. I saw someone bring it up for high school. Like that's not going to happen.
No, it's high school. I mean,
Yeah, you're flooding all the classes.
Make a big deal out of it, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's completely different.
Yeah. But anyway, we do want to hear from people. I want to send videos to our Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. Reach out to us. Send an email. Tweet at us. Reach out to us.
Yeah, and we'll post some of the best ones.
We're also around doing nothing. So.
Well, we have a lot of other work to do. Like,
yes, we have other responsibilities.
Put on social media for Hearst, Connecticut, and I've been put on as a producer role, working on the websites. So that's good.
Bro, 6:30. From working nights for the last like X amount of years to working mornings has been not a good transition. I've been drinking more coffee than ever, and if you know me, I don't drink coffee. Because usually I sleep till 9, 10, then it's fine. I don't have to do anything until later afternoon.
Yeah.
It's great. Now I'm waking up at 6:30. I'm having 2 or 3 cups of coffee before 9, which is absurd.
Yeah. Yeah. I broke my coffee maker, so I had to get another. Someone drop me an emergency one. I got that one, so thanks a lot.
I got a Keurig.
Yeah, that works.
So I picked up some pods at the supermarket.
Oh yeah, I haven't got. How was the supermarket?
Much better this weekend. This Sunday was a lot better. In terms of availability of stuff.
Yeah.
Still no toilet paper. Paper towels very scarce. But they actually had chicken. All the other stuff stocked. So it was nice. It was nice to see.
Yeah. Just keep your distance from everybody. Don't do. I mean, I personally, I'm not going anywhere if I don't have to. We just stocked up my fridge. I'm good for a while. I'm good for at least another week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe. I'm not going anywhere, and it stinks, but it's just the reality of the situation.
I gotta work out more. I gotta do. If anyone knows some home,
I live near East Rock, which is just down the road here. I can walk to it.
I've been going on walks, but because it's been beautiful. That's like the worst part about this.
But we definitely want to hear. We want to hear from people. What are you guys doing? And we will. If you send us a short video. Here's what I do. Here's what our teammates do. Here's what my family does. It's been tough on us. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, and even if it's not sports related, if you're like, hey, I've been building Lego sets. Cool. Yeah, okay, yeah. I love Legos. I have a Lego set. I haven't built it yet.
And do you watch Netflix? Do you watch this?
Yeah. What are you watching on Netflix? What are you watching on Hulu? What movies are you watching?
What are you even stuff like serious stuff. What are you apprehensive about?
Yeah.
What are you worried about? I think
wide open.
We need to know what everyone is going through because we can't otherwise talk. We don't really, other than Twitter and where we are. So we'd love to hear how a lot of athletes are doing and a lot of coaches. The coaches had some good. I've talked to a few coaches here and there, and coaches had some good concerns that they were worried about, like. They're not going to be able to evaluate players if the spring sports get canceled, or they're not going to be able to look at it's like spring football and stuff. They're not going to be able to look at that kind of stuff. It's scary.
It's going to be interesting. I was talking about the fall, going into the fall if we don't have spring, and it's not just going to be season previews this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be returning. It's going to be the return of high school sports, not just hey. Greenwich is returning all these players on the offensive side or defensive side of the ball. It's going to be like these guys are going back to actually play. We're resuming high school sports since this date.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be crazy. Greenwich, I think, is going to be the number 1 team in football.
No pressure, Anthony.
Yeah, but we can get to that in July and August.
We will get through this. That's the thing. I know it's we will get through this. It's just a matter of taking the extraordinary efforts, unprecedented extraordinary efforts to get through this. And that means if you're able, stay inside, don't leave. If you are able, if you have to get out, maintain your distance, maintain, a very.
I've literally interacted with 2 people in the last 2 weeks in person. My roommate and my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, you don't talk to.
I don't have a roommate, so there you go. That's
Yeah.
it. I only
So my birthday's this weekend, right? And I was talking to my parents, and my mom feels terrible, right? She's like, "Oh, it's your 30th birthday, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Whatever." Mom's like, "Oh, we'll come up." I'm like, "Stay home." This was like over a week ago. Now they're definitely staying home, but they like felt bad, and I was just like, "Stay home. It's okay. We could do this in July if we really want to."
Yeah.
You know, like it's really not a big deal.
It's not. There are things that there's a lot of things, and again, I get on this, but there are a lot of things we've taken for granted.
Yeah.
We live in a pretty rich society here, give or take. I mean, for the most part. And there's a lot of things, even, there's a lot of things we take for granted. And I think you're starting to see very much what things are that we do take for granted. And, losing them, maybe, if there's a silver lining anywhere, is that there are going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to readjust to. And there's a lot of things we're going to appreciate more, I think, just collectively as a group, and a lot of things we're going to appreciate more. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. It's going to be really, really tough. So we'll see about that. But we want to hear from everybody. We want to hear from all of you, and we're going to get your stuff out there as soon as possible. And should be a lot of. We'll see. We have a lot of time on your hands. So what are you doing? Just put your iPhone down and send us a video. Tell us all about what you got.
Horizontally. Don't send that vertical nonsense.
Yeah, like this.
It won't get posted if it's
vertical. The portrait.
If it's vertical, then there's editing that I have to do, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we'll do a little edit there. Yeah, just send your stuff over.
Yeah, we'll have fun. That's at this point. Look, there's nothing we can do. Everything's out of our control. Let's just have fun.
Yeah,
just
sounds good.
Have lively debates. You want to talk about stuff. You want to who's the 10 best baseball players you've seen. Send it our way. We'll answer it. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll make lists on the website. I don't know.
We'll see.
But everything's up for grabs at this point.
Cool.
There is nothing set. There's nothing. I was tweeting out a bunch of old baseball highlights the other day. Like, whatever you guys want to do. This is open for our readers, for our listeners, for any high school fans.
The Game Time CT fireside chats.
Yeah. Like, we're open. We're open for business. We're open for whatever. Like, let's just have a conversation. Let's have fun. Let's look away and, just have a break from all the craziness that is understandably going on. But let's just, I don't know.
Cool.
Let's just do something that we can, have fun with and kind of not watch the news for a little bit or whatever. And, just be who we are. I don't know.
That's absolutely right, Pete. That's a good positive way to end it. So
long-winded answer.
We have a lot of stuff to do here, but I mean, we have plenty of time to do it.
Yeah.
So just everyone hang in there. I know this is really just trying times, and it's just frustrating and stuff, but we shall overcome. We shall get through this as a society and as a group, and best wishes to everybody out there. So we'll wrap this little dual. This is very cool. This is very cool. Up. We'll wrap this up, and we'll come back at you. I don't know when you want to come back.
I'm down whenever. I'm done at 3:00 most days. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have to work on weekends mostly, like Friday, Saturdays, and then Monday, and a few other days. But I think midweek I'm usually very good, so maybe we can do this again.
I'm usually done. All right, I'm gonna go play some Pokemon.
You go do that, Pete. For Peter McGrath, I'm Sean Patrick Bowley. This has been Fireside Chats on GameTimeCT. Thanks.
Later.